Pittsburgh Steelers replace Cam Sutton with a trade for Eagles cornerback James Bradberry? I'm going to break down the possibility of that today at the start of today's edition of Steelers Talk. Then we'll get into, later in today's show, George Pickens, stud wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, working out not with his starting quarterback, Russell Wilson, but with his backup quarterback in Justin Fields this week. I'll let you guys know what that could mean for the Steelers quarterback competition as we head into Latrobe here at the end of today's show. But before we get into the content here, give me a follow on Instagram if you haven't already. I'm at SperryDog.football. I just put out a new reel. I believe it was yesterday morning. It was about Derek Carr, actually, of the New Orleans Saints. So if you want more NFL content from me on Instagram, you can find me at Jack or at SperryDog.football. And then get me to 2,000 followers on X, guys. I'm really close. Just 72 followers away on X to get to 2,000. So if you want more Steelers content from me every day, general NFL content, you just want to have a good time there on X, you can find me at Jack-Sperry. And guys, my promise to you guys and the promotion that we're going to do today, anyone that follows me, either on IG or on X this weekend, will get a shout-out on Monday's edition of Steelers Talk. So if you haven't followed me, at SperryDog.football or at Jack_Sperry on X, go ahead, do that right now, and you can get a shout-out on next week's Steelers Talk Live. And then just so you guys know, I'm not bluffing here. Here are the last 5 people that have followed me on my social media accounts: Bretsky, Dale Webb Jr., Isaiah Lutz, Beth, and K-Bear. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. And if you want your shout-out on Monday's edition of Steelers Talk, go ahead, find me on IG and on X, and give me a follow. Okay, let's get into our top story here, which is the possibility of the Steelers maybe trading for Eagles cornerback James Bradberry. And Chat Sports host and our Eagles Now host, Chase Sr. here at Chat Sports, he speculates that Bradberry could be traded to the Steelers, and he might be a good fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers now that Cam Sutton will be serving an 8-game suspension to start the 2024 campaign. You look at James Bradberry here. He's 30 years old, so he's getting up there in age, but he's a big corner, all right? 6'1", 210 pounds. He's definitely got the size that you look for. Maybe not in a slot corner, but, he's definitely got size to play on the outside. He was a second-team All-Pro selection just 2 seasons ago with the Eagles, guys. 2022, he had a phenomenal season with the Birds there in Philadelphia. But he's in danger of being cast aside by that football team this year. After a disappointing 2023 season, the Eagles brought in some more help via the draft at his position. And you take a look at his numbers from 2022, where he was an All-Pro, versus the 2023 season. Big dip in production all throughout that season there. You look at the overall Pro Football Focus grade, much higher. Same thing with the coverage grade, where it went from an 80.2 all the way down to a 54.7. The interceptions went down. It just wasn't really a good season for James Bradberry last year for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you can see throughout his NFL career here, the Pro Football Focus grades, it's been okay a couple of seasons, right? He had a really good season in 2022, really good season in 2020. But other than that, he hasn't really been like a super high-end type of cornerback. And last year was his worst year of his career to this point with a 56.6 grade. And, last year, Bradberry got moved to the slot a little bit because he was struggling so much outside. And they kind of tried to see if he could play in the slot. And, he had 126 snaps last year in the slot, which was the most of his career. But he didn't really seem comfortable throughout his time there with the Eagles towards the end of the season. And you look at the Eagles depth chart right now, they have Darius Slay, who's their bona fide number 1. They drafted Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean in the early rounds of the 2024 NFL draft. So right now, Bradberry is kind of a backup player right now in this team. And Chase Sr., our Eagles host, even tells me that Bradberry could very easily be cut by the Philadelphia Eagles. So if the Steelers wanted to, and they felt like Bradberry was a good fit for them, they could just trade like a 7th-round pick next year, right? And they have this. Remember, the Steelers have 2 7th-rounders. So if you really feel like James Bradberry fits your system, that he would fit in well, that he would be a good player for the first 8 weeks or even for the full season here in 2024, a 7th-round pick is probably all it would take. And if Omar Khan wants to make this move, I think it's a very doable move before the start of training camp. So would you accept this trade if you were Steelers GM Omar Khan? Type A for accept, or type D for decline. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Personally, guys, I would decline this. I do not want James Bradberry on the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. And the reasoning for that, guys, is that first, Bradberry isn't really good in the slot. He proved that last year. The Eagles tried him out there. They gave him a little bit over 120 snaps there last year, and he was really bad in that role. They had to move him back outside. So as somebody that's 6'1", 210 pounds, and he's getting older, he's not really a shifty type of corner. He doesn't really fit kind of the slot mold. So, that's what the Steelers need right now, is somebody that can play that slot cornerback role while Cam Sutton is out with that suspension, and I don't think Bradberry's that type of guy. And personally, guys, I want to see what the Steelers have in-house. I want to see what guys like Josiah Scott, what guys like Graylin Arnold, what guys like Beanie Bishop Jr. are able to do in Latrobe this year. And, they could even get creative. Maybe they can put Deshaun Elliott in there a little bit and play DeMonte KZ and kind of have like 3 safeties on the field instead of 3 corners. They could experiment with that as well. Ryan Watts is somebody that could maybe get plugged in here as well. And, of course, they could go out and get a Patrick Peterson or a Chandon Sullivan or something like that. But I think that James Bradberry, especially because you would have to trade for him at this point, I'm probably not going to make that deal because he's just not a very good slot corner, and that's what the Steelers need right now. So who's going to be the Week 1 starter for the Steelers in the slot? It won't be Cam Sutton. That's all we know. But let me know. Who's it going to be? Will it be Josiah Scott, type JS? Will it be Graylin Arnold, type GA? Will it be the undrafted free agent out of West Virginia, Beanie Bishop Jr., type BB? Or if you think they're going to go with somebody outside of the organization, like a Patrick Peterson or a Chandon Sullivan, type O down there in the comment section. If you type O, let me know which corner you think the Steelers end up adding. So now coming up here, George Pickens was seen working out with Justin Fields, the Steelers' backup quarterback, and not Russell Wilson, who's currently working out at UCLA. I'm going to let you guys know what I think about that here in just a second. But if you're enjoying our content here on Steelers Talk, man, we're really close to what the Chiefs report is at right now. So you can move up the ranks. We can move up the ranks here at Steelers Talk by you clicking that subscribe button right now. We're only 100 subscribers behind the Chiefs report right now. So let's get that going right now. Click that subscribe button if you're enjoying our content. We have videos like this every single day, and I greatly appreciate your support. New viewers, we are counting on you guys here, so make sure you click that subscribe button. If you're watching this for the first time or the second time and you're enjoying our content, make sure you click that subscribe button so you always know when we put out new videos. Okay, now let's shift over to George Pickens. And could he be sending a message here? Because he is working out with the person that's expected to be the Week 1 backup quarterback for the Steelers in Justin Fields, and not working in the offseason with Russell Wilson, who's currently working with receivers out there at UCLA. And some people are really taking this to mean, oh, George Pickens doesn't want Russell Wilson to start. We look at Pickensburg here, who, kind of goes out there and says, Justin Fields throwing passes to George Pickens. QB1 for the Steelers, meaning like, oh, George Pickens is catching passes from him. This means Justin Fields must be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. I'm going to let you guys know what I think here in just a second. But first, if you believe in Justin Fields, if you think that he is the future at the quarterback position for the black and gold, you can get his jersey right now from our friends at Fanatics when you go to chatsports.com/Fields. And when you use that link, I'll put it in the comments and description of today's show, and you make a purchase, Fanatics is going to send us part of the proceeds. So we get some of that money to help make more Steelers content for you guys every single day for free. So go to chatsports.com/Fields to pick up your Justin Fields jersey today. For me, guys, this is a non-story. I had some people reach out to me on X being like, oh, Jack, George Pickens is working out with Fields. Oh, my gosh. I mean, he's going to start Week 1. No, he's not, okay? These guys were teammates back in Georgia. They've known each other for a very long time. And that's why this is happening, guys. They're friends, okay? And, of course, they're going to work out together during the offseason, okay? And George Pickens, it doesn't mean that he's not going to work out with Russ. It doesn't mean that, he hates Russell Wilson or that he definitely wants Justin Fields to start. None of that is what this means, okay? These are two guys that have known each other for a number of years at this point. I mean, like Justin said at OTAs, I've known George longer than you guys, meaning us, have known George. So, this is something that goes way back. Of course, they're two former Georgia Bulldogs, even though Justin ended up leaving for Ohio State. But, these are two guys that definitely know each other. And barring something crazy, I still believe what I've believed since the day that they traded for Justin Fields, which is that the Steelers are going to start Russell Wilson to start the season. Now, if Russ stinks, if the team isn't winning, then you can have a different conversation. But they're bringing Justin Fields in here to be the backup quarterback and then a high upside plan B option if Russell Wilson doesn't pan out, not as somebody that can come in here and take away the starting job from Russell Wilson at least not to start the season. However, I could potentially see if Russell Wilson maybe starts struggling a little bit, if he loses a couple of games in the early portion of the season, could I see George Pickens kind of advocating for them to go with Justin Fields? Absolutely. These guys are good friends. They've known each other for a long time. And if Russell Wilson isn't getting the job done, I have a pretty strong feeling that George Pickens is going to be a heavy advocate to make the move over to Justin Fields. And if your number one receiver is making that advocation, I mean, that's something you at least have to listen to. Now, predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will Justin Fields start over Russell Wilson at any point this season? It can be early on. It can be later in the season. Will Justin Fields take over as the Steelers' starting quarterback over Russell Wilson here in 2024? Let me know with a yes or a no down there in the comments section. Now, before I go here, I do have some congratulations to give out here. And it goes to Mr. Paul Skeens, all right? And you guys know that we've been doing the Paul Skeens watch parties here on the channel, but it was announced today that Skeens will be the starting pitcher for the National League in the MLB All-Star Game here in Arlington, Texas, actually, next Tuesday. So big shout-out to Mr. Paul Skeens. It's more than deserved. And if you are pumped to see Paul pitch in the All-Star Game this year and you want to congratulate him on this incredible accomplishment for being only a rookie, and he's arguably the best pitcher in baseball, type those 30s. In fact, spam those 30s down there in the comments section to show some love to the new pitcher of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the phenom out of LSU.